It's with my greatest pleasure to be here with Michael Borresen at the launch of the Borresen loudspeakers. We've been anticipating hearing these speakers now ever since you made the announcement. And here we are today, and the viewers in just a minute or two, you're going to listen just as we're going to listen for the first time to what may be the best loudspeaker on the market today.
Thank you.
Michael, tell us about it.
Well, yeah, with my background and all the past where I come from, it was a fresh and new opportunity to basically start with a fully clean sheet and see how far I could bring, and we could bring together all the things we knew. So all pitched in terms of design, in terms of technology and know-how and experience of where to go, whens and whys. So the result we have made is pretty much a research and development effort from the whole team that we have gathered together in Aalborg. So that said, we know that everything in a speaker evolves about the transducers. Everything in a speaker can never reach a higher potential than what you build into the drivers. And we have made a brand new driver for this, two brand new drivers actually. And the bass driver is really and truly exceptional. We're in the process of getting a patent on it, and we filed everything for the patent prior to this, so I can actually show off the driver and talk a little bit about the thoughts going into it. The driver looks like this, and this is sort of like a mock-up because everything is detachable. So here's a membrane, and let me talk a little bit about the membrane first. The membrane here is very, very light. It's very, very stiff. It's made from two extremely thin sheets of non-woven carbon fiber, vacuum pressed over a core of Nomex honeycomb. So the membrane is 5 mm thick, and anybody in knowing something about rigidity knows that when you make a sandwich material, the thicker you can make the laminate, the stiffer it is. Bicycles is a good example. No bike today has thin tubes. They're all thicker because that rigidity is with the radius in the fourth of the. So when you double the thickness, the stiffness become 4 times higher. So this is a quite thick membrane. It's 5 mm thick, so it's very stiff. This membrane was not possible just 1 or 2 or 3 years ago because these non-woven carbon fibers, normally carbon fibers are weaves, and weaves are only stiff in 2 directions, so they can flex in other directions. But this is it's a chopped, very, very thin, weighs 40 grams a square meter, and the epoxy we use is a type of epoxy that doesn't harden up to a stone hard, but flexible, and that means that it can slide a little, so we have a little bit of damping in it as well. So it's stiff but dead.
Well, they're the ideal characteristics.
Those are the ideal characteristics, and it's also very light. It weighs 5 grams, and you can go back and calculate things around how other membranes are, but this is light.
Mm-hmm.
We have inverted the surround on it and made a surround that's quite long or quite big, and that makes for a long stroke possibility without the surround stretching and getting to limitation and the sounds occurring from that. But also the inverted surround makes it possible to make a very nice design around it, so you don't really see anything but the membrane moving. And I think this is a very good design feature that we have the option of building into it. The membrane is what makes the sound, and of course that should be without any ringing, without any resonances and stuff like that. But the motor behind it, the magnet system, are as important. We made a new type of motor system that we have patented, and that is a motor system without any iron in at all. Now, why is that a good thing? It's a good thing because in a driver, when you have the voice coil in this gap, when the membrane is moving in, this central piece you get more of that inside the coil, and when it moves out, you get less of it. And that means that dynamically, with precision, the membrane or the driver is changing electrical parameters. And that is not good, because that's sort of like a type of distortion that you don't really measure if you do a sine, but it's important in transients, or because when the membrane is out here, it still has to play 1,000 hertz, and when it's in there, it still has to play 1,000 hertz, because everything is superpositions. So that the driver changes parameters with precision is really bad, and to me, I think that is why speakers always sound like speakers, and why the clarity you get of headphones is very hard to achieve in speakers, and also why the old horn-loaded speakers can sound really, really good and very natural, is because the movement they have to do is very little. So this effect of changing inductance is far less in a driver that doesn't have to move as many millimeters as in speakers where you ask a lot more of the driver. So I think by doing this without any iron, we have at least reduced or cured that unlinearity phenomenon. And also, when we don't have iron in the pole pieces, we could just as well replace it with copper, because copper is very good to dissipate heat, so the transient power handling capability is enormous because the heat can get away. A side effect of this is that copper doesn't like change in magnetic fields. It has hysteresis. We all know this experiment where we have a tube, and then we throw a copper tube, and then we throw a magnet into it. It just floats down the tube because the change causes inner currents in the copper tube that creates an opposing magnet field, so that and if we had something that was superconductive, you couldn't even push the magnet down to it. So copper has this effect on magnetism. It simply cannot, it doesn't like change. And when it doesn't like change, the inductance of the voice coil falls. And so this driver, when you measure the impedance curve, you come out with the result that it has 0.05 millihenry inductance. And that's 1/10 of a normal driver this size.
How about that?
And when I did the driver, my initial idea was I need to make something that has the highest possible acceleration factor, because I wanted to make it to a ribbon. But the side effect of that is that the impedance bumps you get in the bass, where the reflex cabinets has its resonances, or the room has its resonances, is very, very small. This has almost a flat impedance. It's around 6 ohm, and where the ports are tuned, it goes to 9. So even at resonance, room resonance, it still takes about 75% of the current at resonances, as to where there's no resonances. And that means that under resonance, the driver is still under current control from the amplifier. And that results in a far smoother and more articulate bass, and also a more precise and fast bass. And that was something I couldn't envision in the thinking process of making that. I didn't make this to make fantastic bass. It was just a result of it.
A result of the byproduct.
Yeah, but I didn't see in the process those were not really my design goals. But that's maybe where the strongest part of this driver is.
How about that?
So
it sounds like it's going to be a perfect match with the ribbon and integrate seamlessly.
Yeah, that was also one reason why I wanted to slim down the weight, so I could make a driver with a very, very high acceleration factor.
Tell us about the ribbon.
The ribbon is a new ribbon with a different magnet structure and stronger field, and it's narrowed down. So the ribbon is not as wide as those that I did
In the past, yeah.
Yeah, I did one in 1999, which was a long time ago. But making a less wide, you get a better dispersion, but you can also concentrate the field more, so you can get a better efficiency. And this one has a 94 dB efficiency. And I also made a different type of membrane using different materials, more heat resilient materials. That was what was possible almost 20 years ago. 20 years ago you could only get maybe 2 or 3, but today there's Captain and Pen and PET and a lot of different foils, and the industrial partners are getting better, so you can tailor your materials better. So this one is very, very heat resilient. You cannot, it can withstand 550 degrees centigrade, so there's no chance the ribbon can accidentally burn or have a resonance or destroy itself.
How about that? Well, we have the rest of the system here too, viewers, to look at. We have the new stand, a new rack. These are stackable. We saw that in one of our videos that we shot this year. The strength of it, it was amazing. There was a fellow who came in to sit on it who had a lot of weight in his body, and he didn't fracture anything.
No, but when you make racks, you need to make something to accommodate the most heavy amplifiers.
That's right. Yep, that's the point.
And what we have seen and what we see is that the bottom part is often used as a stand for an amp. It's turned to the side and it fits big monoblocks really, really well, and it's a sonic performance improvement of a big magnitude. We also have here the C150 and the P150, which is a new monoblock we're bringing out in the Aavik series.
Oh, great! Congrats on that.
Stereo. Yeah. We discussed a mono, but it became a stereo. Sorry.
And we have the mains 8 down below there.
Yeah, we have the DTC system, and everything's wired up here with the Ansuz DTC cables, which is top of our line cables. And of course, when we go on a show to premiere our speaker, we need to get it the best possible working conditions. And I think that what we should do now is simply give it a listen.
Let's give it a listen.
Talk is talk, and walk is walk, and listening is listening, and this is basically where the proof is.
Good. Well, let's do that next. Here we go.
I didn't know I was looking for you. I didn't know there was something to find. Tomorrow you won't fit in yesterday's shoes, and I'm trying so hard to rewind. You came to me as an empty cup. I didn't know love could ever be real. And every day I tried to fill you up with everything that I thought you would feel. Through the years, the sorrow, the joy that we borrow, the tears that we share with the rain. Oh, today, tomorrow, forever I'll follow your trail. Just call my name. There when you took your first step into a world that was wide as the sky. I held your belly there against my chest. I was there when you needed to cry. I never knew a friend could be so small and have a heart just as big as the moon. You know I can't stop you from growing up. I just wish that it wasn't so soon. Through the years, the sorrow, the joy that we borrow, the tears that we share with the rain. Oh, today, tomorrow, forever I'll follow you.
gentlemen, that was spectacular. Michael, this is a masterpiece.
Thank you.
This loudspeaker.
Yeah.
It has got, it is so quiet. There is no noise floor.
I think this is what we were talking about with the magnet system.
Yeah.
That unlinearity creates noise. I have often, in the quest for higher efficiency, made different types of magnet systems, but they have in the past always been discarded because not that you could point anything, it was just that the presentation was more noisy. And it seems like every time we try to move up in efficiency, it comes with a noise penalty.
Mm-hmm.
And taking away
That's
all the
well
iron is one of the main reasons why this seems so quiet.
Additionally, it's seamless between the two drivers. I mean, it's of one cloth. We use that term a lot, but it is actually really like one cloth. It is, again, utterly seamless. The sound staging is, the room disappears. The male vocalist was just, my goodness gracious, hanging in space right in front of us. And it was, the presentation was organic, and it was detailed, and it was true to the essence of the music because every bit of detail came through, but in a non-irritating way. I mean, it's awesome. It's just, again, I think it's your masterpiece.
Well, thank you, it's nice. No, we're very pleased also inside our group that what the effort we have had to make. I mean, putting this together in a span of 1.5 years, so even less than that.
Yeah, it's a great accomplishment.
It's a man's work.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something that comes easy. So all the guys in the factory and around have been chipping in and taking part. So.
Wow, I don't know what else to say except wow. It's awesome. I urge the viewers to reach out, take a listen to these loudspeakers, or if a lot of people do, they'll make blind purchases based on reputation, and you have one of the best, if not the best reputation in the business as a gifted engineer. You could buy the speaker sight unseen. It's so good. It's so good. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Peter.
Yeah, thank you for going through and showing us the technologies. The viewers will love that. And the look of the loudspeaker is, of course, it disappears in the room, and it's exquisite. So thanks again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter.